One of the questions that really got me was how to achieve work-life balance. At the end of the video, I'm actually going to share with you two important things that I see as a rock in my routine that has helped me to somewhat achieve this balance. It's a very touchy topic because there is a camp where people actually focus on obsession. You know, they believe that you need to be all or nothing, like you need to give everything. You know, there is no such thing as balance in order for you to achieve great things. I've been there, I have experienced that. And there's also one camp that actually talks about the fact that life is too short. It's not worth, killing yourself and obsessing over things that it's just to prove yourself to the external world. And I mean, we can all go into a rabbit hole of what that all means. My take about achieving work-life balance is something that it needs to be created. It can be achieved, but it is very subjective to many people. I think when you ask this question of balance, you need to first define what does balance means to you. So if you're comparing yourself to other people and then you try to look at, on Instagram and you see like, oh, these people, they're also very successful, but at the same time, they're having so much fun. I think first thing that you need to remove is that you shouldn't be comparing yourself to other people, although this is something that is built in within us. Sometimes we really look at what others are doing in a way unconsciously trying to gauge whether we have that or not. So I think first thing is to be very conscious that you are not benchmarking yourself with somebody else, that you cannot have an apple-to-apple comparison. It's just not a very realistic way to see things. Okay, so I don't think necessarily I have achieved work-life balance to 100% because I have come to a conclusion that this word balance needs to be approached very carefully. You need to kind of know if you're going to get yourself into this situation. Like, for example, you have a goal that you're trying to achieve. You need to really take time, analyze, and be honest with yourself, like to do enough research to know that, okay, if this is what I want, what is the price I have to pay? What are the costs? And if you're really willing to sacrifice those things, and then when you know what are the things that you're supposed to be compromising on, what you're supposed to be sacrificing, you kind of then, from that area, build the part where, okay, because I have to do this, what are the other things that I can compensate? So it becomes this like balance sheet, knowing what you're going to be paying for, and if you're willing to go through it, and what is going to be the outcome of it, if that is going to help you to achieve your goal. I guess what I'm trying to say is, first thing, you need to have a lot of self-awareness on how you're going to try to achieve this balance. When you look at your energy level, it's not just on the physical aspect of things. I used to be that person that would just physically, even mentally, right? Like, I would just push it through. Like, okay, I know this is difficult. I know that I am not going to have a social life. Well, I'm an introvert, so that's not going to matter anyways. But you get my point, is that I would just forego things that would give me a lot of pleasure in order to achieve the things that I want to achieve. And it causes burnout because you kind of don't get you're not sensitive to the feedback that your body is trying to give you. So physically, mentally, I was pushing myself a lot. And then because I have very high, discipline, so again, nothing that is too extreme, because whenever it's pushed to the extreme, you're gonna pay the price for it even deeper. Because the greater the risk, obviously the greater the reward, but you need to be able to then accept that risk, that if in case you fail or you need to sacrifice something, it's something that you're going to be able to accept. So I think some people, they thrive on this intensity. They know that in order for me to be great, I need to go through a lot of suffering, which I totally believe in for sure. Like, you do need to embrace pain because pain is progress. It's just what amount of pain and what is the duration, and if you're going to continuously place yourself there, and what is that price. It's going back to the price that you're going to pay. So having that self-awareness on, okay, you know what, today I can be obsessive, but tomorrow I'm not going to be. It's that balance sheet, it's trying to always be conscious of, okay, if I am dialing up already, what am I going to dial down? So this goes into self-discipline. So when you have self-awareness, it must also couple with self-discipline. I believe I have achieved work-life balance only also because I have somehow weaved my work to the things that I'm truly passionate about personally. Work has become like play, I have blurred the lines of like sometimes when I'm actually working, because I enjoy the process so much, I know that I'm somebody that actually loves creating, and I have brought myself into a profession. Obviously, in my past, I really steered myself to the direction of pursuing this path of knowing that whenever I get to create something, whenever there's a channel for me to express myself, just the whole work of creation, it puts me in a place where I feel like it's play, it's where I have flow. I know that it's not always an easy process, but I know that this pain that I'm going through, that I'm learning to create things that, I get criticism, I get judgment, I get feedback that I may not want to hear because I'm not my best yet at certain level as I'm creating. That whole process just feels like play to me, because I have learned to accept that in order for me to reach a certain level, this is all the price that I have to pay. So it just becomes like, when you go shopping, you have this amount of budget, right? And then you're very clear that, okay, this amount of budget that I have, this is what I want. And then you just enter into the store knowing that, okay, this is what I want, and this is how much I'm going to give out. And so it's a very natural process. It's very straightforward like that. So it doesn't make me feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to work, I'm sacrificing so much, and I I don't get to see my friends, or it's just been very clear to me in that sense. This goes back to energy management. It's not just about physical, it's not just about mental. It's my emotional side that I'm taking care of. It's my spiritual side that I'm taking care of. It's things that will give me energy, so that when I exert myself to the work part, it's fulfilled in that sense. It's like I'm filling my tank, and in all areas, and not just particularly, oh, you know what, I need to drink a lot of energy drink and eat a lot of sugar in order for me to produce something. That's just the physical part. But what about the other part of your energy that you also need to fill up, so that you present yourself as a whole rather than it's lopsided? Not burning myself too much, because I think when it comes to work-life balance, especially work, some people just take it a little bit too intensely, and then they see work as something that causes them a lot of stress. Something that I actually practice at work in order for me to maintain my productivity and not burn myself out. And then in the end, when I burn myself out at work, I also compromise on my personal life. So I think you need to be very aware on whether are you enjoying too much of your personal life that you're forsaking your work, or are you chronically obsessed with your work to the point that you're neglecting your personal life. So one thing that I do at work is, because I know that I gear towards more of working too much or too intensely, is that this has helped me a lot with productivity, I must say. Such a simple rule, but it works. Usually the simplest things, if you stick to it, because it's boring, it actually works. So there's this 90-minute rule that I think a lot of people just don't care for it. They think that they can just push it through and get things done. But they don't remember the part where we are actually human beings. We have biological, requirements within us that doesn't allow us to do the things that we want to do, because after all, we're not robots, we're not superhuman. And so this 90 minutes rule means that, okay, for example, you're at work and you already have your assuming to-do list, things that you need to accomplish today. If you don't have this list, I don't think you even should watch this video, okay? So you need to have very clear, you're at work, what's the hours that you're actually going to be spending to achieve the things that you want to achieve by the end of the day. So you ask yourself, okay, within this time frame, how focused can I be for 90 minutes? So you need to be very clear of that. Like, when you have meetings, you don't overrun your meetings. Don't make it anything goes beyond 90 minutes. Actually, 90 minutes is a stretch. Most people's attention is only within 60 minutes or even shorter. That's worse. But I think for most people, in order for them to have a concentrated, productive work where you are mentally agile, mentally clear, and able to really produce the outcome or result, whatever work that you are doing, whether it's brainstorming with people, with ideas, whether it's, working on an Excel spreadsheet, creating, or just basically using brain power, just remember that 90 minutes is where you are the most productive. But what happens after that doesn't mean that you only work for 90 minutes. Is every 90 minutes, you need to have a slot where you just unload yourself, go for a quick walk around your workplace, or just do something that kind of clear off that mode where you are constantly putting out things. Why is this 90-minute rule? Is because a lot of time our attention span, it takes a lot of concentration, focus. So anything that is beyond 90 minutes, people's attention span, people's focus tends to go down after that 90 minutes. I'm not going to bore you with the science. So what I actually do when I want to have full concentration at 90 minutes is I have a function in my phone. I will put it on do not disturb mode. This is where nobody would get to me. There's no notification. Now there's a pros and cons of that depending on what your work environment is. So for me, when I know that I need to produce the best quality, or I want to finish something in order to free myself up to do other things, I need to sacrifice myself for the next 90 minutes. I'll set a timer. So I put it on do not disturb mode. Nobody would get to call me, or there will be no messages like, popping up and then I get distracted. Sometimes this kind of small things, it can get to you because you're in the flow of doing something. And then you see a message that maybe, let's say, it's unpleasant, it's alarming, it just disrupts your flow. This flow is so important, the flow of productivity and mental clarity. And so I'll block it out for 90 minutes. I'll set a timer actually. The timer kind of like, well, for those of you who are more intense, you can use the timer. The timer kind of like puts you in this pressure mode of like, hello, the time is ticking, it's reducing. Your time is up soon, so you better finish what you're supposed to be finishing. Now, for the first few times when I was doing it, it's kind of pressurizing. Obviously, it needs to be. If not, you wouldn't get good at it, right? So, the first few times as I was doing it, I didn't fulfill it properly. I got distracted, actually. But I know that you need to keep trying. It's the difficulty of practicing, that you need to keep practicing so that it's just going to get better over time. I think we are just designed to go through pain and adapt. And so put yourself in the situation. Try it the first time. It's okay to fail. A second time, just make it a bit better. If you don't try it, you wouldn't know, and then you wouldn't actually get to where you want to be. I hope that this answers the question how I achieve work-life balance. I'm sorry if it's too long, but I think there's a lot for me to say in this. I hope that this would give you some insights. Hopefully you would try to practice this 90 minutes rule. If you already are, congratulations. I hope it's actually working for you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.